You know, every government, every state has its secrets. But the most dangerous ones, they're usually not about foreign armies or secret battle plans. Nope. They're about the enemies you can't see, the ones hiding in plain sight, maybe even working right alongside you. We're about to get into the incredible story of how one of history's most explosive secrets was trusted to just a single person. And really, it all boils down to this one question. At the very beginning of the early Islamic State, what was the single piece of information that was so dangerous, so absolutely volatile, that if it got out, it could have torn the whole community apart from the inside?
The biggest threat wasn't some army at the gates. It was something way more subtle, way more corrosive, an enemy working from within. And there's actually a term for this that we still use today.
It's called the fifth column. Basically, these are people who smile to your face and pretend to be on your team, but secretly they're working for the other side. And what makes them so much more dangerous than an open enemy is that they destroy the one thing holding everything together: trust. So, get this. The Prophet Muhammad actually had a list with the names of every single one of these internal threats, a list of hypocrites, of potential traitors. But here's the crazy part. He didn't share it with his top generals or his closest advisors. He didn't lock it away. He gave this entire, world-changing secret to just one man. So, who was he? Who on earth could you possibly trust with a burden of that magnitude? Well, his name was Hudhayfah ibn al-Yaman. Now, he wasn't one of the first four caliphs, he wasn't the most famous warrior, but he earned this unique title that no one else ever had, the keeper of the secret of the messenger of God. And that, of course, leads to the big question. In a community that was full of people known for their incredible faith, their loyalty, their wisdom, why Hudhayfah? What was it about him that made him the only person qualified for this unbelievably sensitive job? The answer wasn't just about being strong or smart. The sources all point to one very specific and very rare character trait: exceptional emotional stability. Hudhayfah had this almost superhuman ability to stay completely calm, to never be provoked no matter what was happening around him. You simply could not rattle him into revealing what he knew. And look, this wasn't just a theory about his character. This quality was proven, forged in fire really under the most extreme pressure you can imagine. We're going to look at two life-or-death moments that showed everyone what he was truly made of. Okay, so the first test happened during the absolute chaos of the Battle of Uhud. In the fog of war, a group of Muslim soldiers mistakenly identified Hudhayfah's own father as an enemy fighter. Hudhayfah saw it happen. He watched his own friends, his own allies, strike his father down. He screamed, my father," but it was too late. I mean, just try to imagine that, the grief, the shock, the sheer rage you would feel. Anyone would have been justified in lashing out and screaming for justice. But Hudhayfah's response? It was just unthinkable. He turned to the men who had just killed his father by mistake, and all he said was, "May God forgive you." That's it. No rage, no blame, just legendary composure in the face of an absolute personal tragedy. The second test was a military one. During another major conflict, the Battle of the Trench, he was sent on a solo spy mission deep into the heart of the enemy camp, and his orders were totally clear. Find out their plans, but do not, under any circumstances, start a fight or engage anyone. Just watch, listen, and get back. So he slips in under the cover of darkness, and through sheer skill, he ends up right in the middle of the enemy's high command. At one point, he's so close to their top commander, Abu Sufyan, that he could have taken him out with a single arrow and maybe ended the whole war right there. But he remembered his orders. He passed up this massive, history-changing opportunity because he was committed to the mission. That's a level of discipline that is just off the charts. So Hudhayfah was given the list. But you could argue the real test began after the Prophet passed away, because now the entire weight of this secret was on his shoulders alone, and the new leaders of the state, well, they had questions. So now you have this incredible dynamic, this real tension. On one side, you've got the new caliph, Umar ibn al-Khattab, one of the most powerful and effective leaders in history. He's responsible for the state. He needs to know if any of his governors are secretly traitors. And on the other side, you've got Hudhayfah, bound by a sacred oath to never, ever reveal the names on that list. This tension led to one of the most amazing and humbling moments you'll read about.
The Caliph Omar, this man of immense power, would go to Hudhayfah again and again, but he wouldn't demand the list. He'd ask something far more personal. He'd ask with what sounded like genuine fear, "Oh, Hudhayfah, tell me, am I among them? Is my name on that list?"
The way they handled this was just brilliant. Hudhayfah never broke his oath. But on one occasion, he did confirm to Omar that yes, one of the governors he had appointed was on the list. Now, without ever hearing the name, Omar used his own wisdom and judgment to figure out who it was, and he quietly removed that man from his position. The secret was used to protect the state, but the secret itself was never broken. Which brings us to the final, and maybe the most important question of all. Why? Why go to all this trouble? Why keep the list a secret in the first place? Why not just expose the traitors and be done with them?
Well, the thinking behind this was actually incredibly sophisticated. For one, just publishing the names would have caused chaos and infighting. It could have been used as propaganda, this idea that Muhammad kills his own companions. But more than that, by not revealing the list, it forced the community to learn how to spot these negative traits for themselves, a skill that's way more valuable than any list of names. And maybe most beautifully, it left the door open for people to repent. By not publicly shaming them, it gave them a chance to actually change. It was about teaching a method for vigilance, not just handing down a final verdict.
And all of this leaves us with a really powerful question for our own lives, for our own time. We always talk about transparency as being the ultimate good in leadership, right? But this whole story makes you stop and ask, are there times when calculated secrecy, when wisdom and discretion are actually more valuable? When is keeping a secret the most responsible thing a leader can do to protect their people? It's definitely something worth thinking about.